Yeah, cool.
Thank you for submitting that question too, which is really cool.
Yeah, man. I honestly, I love sharing. I don't want to say like it sounds like so super overconfident that like I don't want to share what I know, right? Like I'm not this like super entrepreneur, even though I promote that on my channel and you and I have done like a bunch of content. But I really want to pour into people. Like I've already done this stuff, right? I like don't feel it as my arrogance or Chris Haskins' arrogance. I've already done it. Like I don't mind answering the questions. Like we've already done this. Don't like I don't know the best way to say it. And I was complimented this morning when I saw your question. And I'm like, wow, submitted by Chris Burch from Washington DC. And I'm like, you know what? It was a solid question. How do you do what you do? Right?
It's an honor. Roundup. We got 20 people on here. So tonight, if you've been following my content, I'm trying to figure out how I can continue to give and pour into you, to be honest with you. I'm Chris Haskins, and my mission and ministry is to raise your financial literacy through real estate investing and entrepreneurship. And doing that, I do the question of the day, and I love to get questions from our members, friends, fellow entrepreneurs, real estate investors. And tonight's question is coming from Chris Burch. How you doing, my friend?
Man, I'm awesome, dude. Like to be discussing this with you is like super special. And I see people post on your comments and do all this stuff, and it was like, you know what? Wow, I actually know Chris Haskins. I actually know this guy, right? And I get comments, I get posts, and on my channel and other social media platforms. A lot of us are kind of like, well, we want to share what we know. And when you mentioned to me probably about a month or two ago that you're going to post this question of the day, I was actually intrigued myself to say, dude, I would love to answer some of these questions because you might pose it in a different way. Like, why would I not want to engage myself on stuff that me personally, that I already know and what I already do? Like, why would I not engage in that? And like, I compliment you for even posting this stuff.
I appreciate that, Chris. Yeah, same to you, man. Good hanging out with you. I just like y'all don't know this, but I talk to Chris. I don't know, probably every day, just about it could be ideas, thoughts, interactions with people. What do I think about this? What do you think about that? How about this? Because at the end of the day, Chris is an entrepreneur. I don't care if you're selling beans, cement blocks, shirts. It's irrelevant to me. I don't care what you're selling as long as you have the entrepreneur mindset. That's who the people I like to hang out with.
Yeah.
So you guys know I'm still in Charlotte, North Carolina, and before we get to the question of the day, which is a good one, I'm going to share with you just a quick thing. Check out what we're doing, guys. I was out with Stephanie McGann today. Look at this, y'all. She took me to the mobile home.
We're cleaning up the outside. It was a lot more trash.
They had a bonfire right there.
Yeah, they had a bonfire, literally a bonfire.
So we're walking through the house, huh? What's up?
What you doing?
I just went over a video from today. Roundup. This is a video of a house that she had to put the people out of.
It's not like
it's a hoarder house. A hoarder.
Whoa.
But this is the bedroom.
Is that the lady who lives there?
No, she's the owner. A hoarder.
Does she live there?
Trailer home. No, she's the owner.
Stuff. And we're starting to clean it out.
Look at this, Chris.
Master bedroom. But you can see
who
you
lives
have
in
good bones.
Well, why are you
So when you're
crazy?
looking at houses,
So I thought you guys. Oh yeah, here's a kitchen.
you think it'll take to turn this around? Give a nice pan.
Kitchen full.
If I come in here and really just concentrate on getting this home up and running, I can get it up and running by the end of the month.
So Roundup, these videos will be that. Wow, man, they just left the house. It's amazing when you think someone's living there.
Yep.
They left the entire house full of stuff. So Roundup, please make sure if you're not subscribed, subscribe to the channel so you can see this mobile home investing. Stephanie, she took me to 3 mobile home parks that she manages today. Now it's driving all around Charlotte, man. It's just amazing to see this lady in action. Lot rent from anywhere from $250 to $300 a month times 140 that we went today. So she's just got massive cash flow coming in, managing this stuff. So, all right, let's get to this, Chris. You question of the day submitted by Chris Burch. So, Chris, first of all, where did this come from? Where were you at? What space were you in when you wrote this one?
So you and I talked at some point, and you had mentioned that you were going to do this question of the day. And I thought back, and I actually asked you, I was like, I would love to submit some of the scenarios that I personally have to deal with doing real estate in business as an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And I was like, Chris, would you mind if I send you, once or twice a day, a scenario that I was confronted with? So today's question, as you see there on your screen, was after you have the agreement. So you've met with the seller, or you've contacted the potential seller. You have a ratified contract to wholesale this deal, and you have a signed agreement from the seller and plan to wholesale the property, meaning that I'm actually going to reassign this deal either to a flipper, a rehabber, someone maybe somebody who's going to buy it and hold it and maybe rehab it and hold the property. But I was thinking, from my experience, what was the proper question to put in front of this potential seller? And I was like, wow, you know what? I don't want to ask the seller a question. What do I want to actually do with the property? So I kind of retracted and said, wait a minute. I don't want to overextend what I'm talking about. I want to say, okay, cool. This seller wants to sell the property. What is my end use? What do I want to do with the property? And my question that I posed here to your Roundup family was, what is the number one thing that you actually want to do? Like, what is your focus to be in and out of that deal as quick as possible?
Yeah, I like the way you worded it, because there are a lot of things you can do after you get the contract signed, which we've all been there, right? We've all been there. But what is the first thing that you possibly would be the highest and best use of your time? Right? Let's go over some of the answers, Chris. I'm going to read them out. I don't know if you can see them. After you get the purchase agreement signed by the seller and plan to wholesale the property, what is the first thing you should do? The first thing, could you A, give the seller a deposit so they don't back out of the deal? B, get a lender just in case you can't sell the deal. They're all viable answers. C, market the property to get the highest and best offer. D, pull comps on the property. Pull comps and find out what the best ARV is.
Yep.
So I chose C, Chris. That was where my answer was at.
Yep.
So what were you thinking? Is that what you had?
So let's kind of retract to where we were. Is if you have a property under contract, to potentially either resell it, reassign it, or maybe buy and hold the property. But the recourse of the question was, if you get it under contract, what is the first thing that you actually want to do? And the answer is actually C, is market the property. Because why in the world would yourself or myself, why in the world would we want to get a property under contract and then try to rehab the property to maybe sell it at some point? Or maybe buy the property. We don't know how we're going to fund the deal, and then potentially sit on the property and rent it or lease option or rent to own. The first thing you guys should really focus on is you have a contract to purchase the property. You want to market that property like day one. You want to market and probably try to figure out the quickest way to sell that property, regardless if you hold it or you rehab it or you're trying to flip it or whatever it is. The initial instinct you have to kind of.
Well, you said here you said you plan to wholesaler, Chris. That's what your question is.
Right.
Wholesale.
Right. So the initial plan would be to wholesale. So your initial reaction should be, I want to pitch this property to as many potential buyers as possible. Right. Right.
So let's talk about A then. Give the seller, because I've been here probably 5 or 6 times, and round up, we got 71% of y'all got it right. Give the seller a deposit, and so they don't back out of the deal. What made you use this as an option for an answer, Chris?
So a lot of people don't understand that you actually don't have to give a earnest money or a deposit to a potential seller. Mm-hmm. Your initial response is it really should be to get them to agree to sell the property to you, regardless of what your terms are, but to get that property under a ratified contract for you to reassign or to sell that property.
Yeah, you could get you can give it the matter of fact, you better not be giving sellers an earnest money deposit. Let me tell you what happened to me probably 5 times before I said never again. I remember one time I learned from a guru. I used to attach the earnest money, Chris, to my contract and give it to the seller so they'd see $1,000 earnest money.
Yep.
And I would make that earnest money out to the title company. Well, first I would give it to the seller, and I'm like, I ain't doing that. I mean, I did that a few times. They cash a check, deal fell apart. And then I put the check on the contract, and I made it out to the title company. They still were able to cash it. They still were able to cash the check, even though it wasn't made out to them. I don't know. So I'm like, from here on out, this is probably, I don't know how many years ago, never give the seller earnest money deposit. Always put it in escrow.
Yep. No, I would totally agree with that. Yep.
All right. So we're not giving seller money. Get a lender just in case you can't sell the deal. I don't know, Chris. I don't know if I want to buy it. When I saw that answer, I'm like, I don't know. I mean, what if I don't really want to buy the house? What if it's something that I don't want to buy?
Yep. No, I mean, so the root of the question was, if you're trying to wholesale the property, there's no reason to get a lender, right? If you're trying to buy the property to live in, you get a fixed, 30-year or 15-year mortgage. Yeah, maybe. But if you're going to wholesale the property, you're going to do an assignment of contract.
Yep.
You don't need to know who the lender is. No.
We got pull comps. I'm thinking pull comps that we need to be doing that pull of the comps before we make our offer.
Yeah, I would agree. So you're gonna pull comps if you're gonna potentially buy and hold the property, or buy and rehab and then resell the property. Yeah. But the comps are irrelevant if you're gonna reassign your contract to the end buyer. So you don't need to know what the comps are. That's not your problem.
Well, let me ask you, Chris. I mean, don't we need to know something about the ARV before we make our offer, though? Because we're going to have some type of equation, even if we're going to make an offer.
Yep, so you would need to know, or at least for me, I would like to know the area. I would like to know the comps, because that would give me a basic idea from my experience as doing some flips. If I have a project or a potential property under contract to wholesale for, let's say my buy price is 100, I want to make 20, and the comps are 300. I would kind of like to know from an investor's perspective, it's going to cost them a certain amount of money to do the upgrades to sell this house for a profit. But if I'm literally going to wholesale the deal, I do want to know what the value is in the ARV, right? I want to know the neighborhood. I want to know the amenities and all these other things that are adding up to that. But if I'm going to wholesale the deal, I don't necessarily need to know exactly dollar for dollar, but I do want to have an idea of, in that neighborhood, in that zip code, what property is going to sell for, whether it's rehabbed, whether it's rented, regardless. I do want to have a basic idea.
Gotcha. I'm happy we got 71% on this one. I'm happy about y'all. Thank you guys. You did good. You done good. The first thing you got to do, Roundup, find your buyer. Now, how we do that, as soon as I get the house under contract, I'm putting out my signs, cash for houses. I'm going to Home Depot, Lowe's, cash for houses. The main thing is having an email list blasting out. If you're new and you don't have a buyers list yet, just go list a contract on the MLS.
Yep.
Just go list a contract on the MLS. That way you can get all the buyers and it's on. Right?
Yep.
This is cool. Candace wants to know, when you wholesale, what do you find buyers besides prop stream? Any other tips? Oh yeah, I kind of went over that just now.
Mm-hmm.
One of our members here, Latasha. Hey, Latasha, what's the average you pay for a title company to do a title search and closing? Go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it kind of, from state to state, it's a little different, but most title companies have a set fee. It's really not that much. What you're actually going to focus on in your area is the recording fees, the taxes, the transfer fees. So I would say on average, I mean, I'm in Maryland and DC market. Title is somewhere between $500 and $1,500 at most.
Well, it depends on if you're Latasha, if you're selling or buying,
right?
That's 2-3%. Yeah, I just count as 2%. Even if you buy a house cash, you're gonna pay $2,000 to $4,000.
Yep.
And one of our members, Roundup, please, if you don't mind, we offer our busy professionals and entrepreneurs the opportunity to answer questions first. If you want to have your question answered first, the join button is right down there just to help support my channel, keep producing content. It's going to cost you nothing but a price of a large Starbucks a month. Dad buys houses. This helps measure up the scope of education. Yes, sir. Thank you. What's a consultation? Chris at Chris Haskins. Chris at Chris Haskins. Scenario. Chris, seller has liens and fines, but is willing to quit claim the property. I like how you said quit claim. Quit. Yep. It's not quick claim. It's not quit claim. What language do I use when recording the lien holder and taxes? So you're going to quit claim that deed over to you. Yep. Yeah, I would get it. The title company can type all that one up, man. I don't want to get into practicing title, but yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Or if you get a quick claim or get a regular deed, either way, you're buying a sub 2 liens and fines. You're jumping in the seller's shoes and all that stuff. Eleanor says, "What up, Birch?"
What's up? What's up? What's up?
Hello, everyone. Sister Elise, Angela, how you doing? How you doing, y'all? We do offer mentorship. Just Chris at chrishaskins.com. Send me an email. That was a tour today. Yeah, I said y'all saw that little video. Make sure you subscribe so you can get the mobile home information. Chris Burch, add some slow flip questions. Do you do slow flips? You have one of those, don't you?
I know. And you know what? I don't. But guys, I mean, or at least for me, when I was looking at the slow flip, what's your guy down there in Hampton Roads? Scott. Yep. Dude, Scott's slow flip scenario is like gold to me. I don't know if it works in my market.
You kind of did it in Baltimore a little bit, didn't you?
it wasn't really a slow flip. I mean, so what I really did was a wholesale deal. So and it was multiples of it. So I had multiple properties that I agreed to buy on a set price, and then I remarketed those properties and sold them. It was really more of a wholesale deal. It was not actually a slow flip deal. But I mean, hearing what Scott is doing and still does, like I'm so interested in that market because at least in Baltimore, in the inner city and some of the impoverished areas in Baltimore, I really see the slow flip deal working really, really well. Like
you kind of did like a hybrid thing of slow flip with that, with you partnering up with the contractor. You bought it, right? Or is that not a?
No, actually, that's actually an active deal. So what I did was I bought the property for cash. I initially marketed the property to contractors or someone else who wanted to invest in the properties. And a friend of mine, he's in the entertainment business, contacted me and said, "Wow, I want to get into real estate. I've done a couple, small transactions, but I wanted to actually get into real estate. Would you mind maybe partnering with me where I would manage the project? I would finance the rehab, and we either refinance out and rent it on the long term, or potentially we go in and rehab it and then flip the property." So we're actually still active in a couple of those deals right now.
Gotcha. Well, I'm just saying, from my perspective, you bought it for this. You plan on selling it for this. It's not like you didn't. You're not doing any work. Your partner's doing all that stuff. So I mean, in my mind, I'm saying that's a hybrid of a slow flip.
Yep.
Not a super slow flip, but still, you sold it for. I mean, you're going to sell it for high without doing any work.
Yep. No. Now that you say it like that, yes, it is a hybrid of a slow flip where I bought it for cash. And as you and I have talked many, many times, it wasn't Chris Burch's money or Chris Haskins' money. My retirement bought the property, right? So I'm kind of like the orchestrator of what I'm doing. I'm never going to be the man, the boots on the ground, but I have friends who are in the business and they're willing to put their money forth to rehab the property, and potentially they'll gain a profit, and the profit on my side goes back into my IRA.
Sweet.
Yep.
Title search. Nathaniel wants to know how much the title search. We pay $75 because remember, on a foreclosure title search, we're only doing current owner plus one. Current owner plus one, and you can get that information at the foreclosure summit. But if you do a full title search, it's going to be anywhere from $150 to $200.
Yep.
Atlanta. So if you send me a DM about Atlanta, I will reach back out to you to get coffee. Looking forward to meet you, my friend Hibachi. Chris, I think you should just make sure you don't go over that maximum allowable offer when you're wholesaling it. That's right. Can't do that. You're done. Okay, Roundup. That's all we got. Anything else you want to add, Chris, before we get out of here?
Yeah, man. So what I will recommend for your Roundup family, pay attention to Chris's channel on YouTube every single morning. He has a question. Dude, I've been doing this for years. You've been doing it for probably longer than me. But the questions that you ask are extremely pertinent to understand how to do real estate, right? So every morning at like 7:30 or 8 o'clock or whatever time you guys get up, on the Real Estate Roundup channel on YouTube, Chris Haskins Real Estate channel on YouTube, he poses these questions, and you really have to read every single word, because in real estate, as Chris has always said, it is in black ink on white paper. So if you don't read the question, you have to understand it's specific, and it is very specific for a reason. He's not trying to fool you. He wants you guys to understand. Like, he wants you to understand. There is 1, 2, 3 of everything about real estate. Like, everything about real estate that I've ever done is you got to agree to this. It has to be on this date and this time. You sign here, and the deal is done. Right? Am I wrong, Chris?
Anyway, well, I've learned there's a right way to do this and a wrong way.
Yeah.
You know? So I want my rounders to know. I'll never get the house under contract and like, what do I do next? Damn, I got the house under contract. What do I do? You know, so many things you got to learn. Roundup. I want to know your questions. Let's see, we got one here from Danny. I'll do a video on transactional lending, transactional funds. Good, Danny. We'll do that. Put your questions in the comments below so I can put them to the Roundup, fam. We need your help. I need your help doing these questions because I don't know what you don't know. And that's when you get killed.
Yeah.
That's when you get killed. All right, Roundup. We're in Atlanta tomorrow, Charlotte today. Looking at these mobile homes. Good Lord. You are in for such a treat. I went to 3 mobile homes today. Over 120, 130 doors. Just wow. It's so mind-opening when you see people, how they live differently. I'm thinking about how I live. I'm telling my daughter we're going into these houses. Like, just amazing content out here, guys, of living in mobile homes. It's going to blow your mind. Yep. All right. Like the content, share with other investors, subscribe to the channel. I'll be seeing you guys in the next video Roundup. I'll see you in Atlanta tomorrow. Peace.